Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Gulfstream Park here on Saturday. It is the 17th of December 2022. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Gulfstream, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Let's look at the stakes action, races 6 and 9 from Gulfstream. Keep in mind there is some rain in the forecast, so it's a good possibility that these races will be moved to the Tapeta, I think. But the sixth race from Gulfstream, it is the Via Borghese Stakes. It's going for a $100,000 purse. Race for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses, hopefully stepping onto the turf course. The distance of ground of 2,200 meters, or the mile 3/8 trip on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 2,200 meters, a mile 3/8. The portable rails are out at 21 feet, so it's still towards the inner portion of the turf course, but keep in mind if they take this race off the turf and run it on the Tapeta, the distance actually increases to about 1.5 miles, so just keep that in mind. So it goes up a furlong, but with the run-up for these mile 3 races at Gulfstream on the turf course, it's basically 1.5 miles anyway. But my top selection here, I'm gonna go with the number 4 horse Flying Fortress. Let's go 4168 in the superfecta. 4168 super, top selection of the 4 horse Flying Fortress, 4-year-old Flip Uncle Mo. Gets McGay, he trains this one. Junior Alvarado gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came 23rd of October at Keeneland, 1.5 in the Dowager Stakes, and the horse finished 5th by 9 lengths that day. And, he stalked early on, and then he completely got inhaled in the top of the lane, which caused him, just really got caught. It wasn't the day to win. Refreshing here to Gulfstream Park, a lot faster turf course usually, but if he runs on the Tapeta, it shouldn't be a problem either. The longer trip where he could slow it down on the front end, I think he could really run a good race. 2 back 30th of August, a Colonial, mile 8th on the outer, an optional 50 claimer. He won by a length that day, and he's just stalked that. He set the pace, pedestrian fractions. He quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. A very good race from there. And then a Colonial, mile 16th on the inner turf course, an optional 50. He finished second by a neck that day, and he was a little bit wide, but he's really gaining well off the bench. I didn't think it was a bad race. And then an allowance race at Laurel, 1 mile, 24th of April, winning by a neck from a tracking position. He got the job done. He's training well pace and come to a longer trip where he could slow it down. I think he has a strong chance. I think you also have to give a shot to the number 1 horse here beside herself for top Pletcher, Michael Tabor and Luis Saez. Most recently in the Dowager at Keeneland over the 1.5 miles. The horse finished 8th by 12 1/4 lengths that day. Was a little bit wide, but then completely hit the wall. Maybe a little bit too fast early on. But the race before then, Jack Club Oaks over the mile 3/8 at Belmont at Aqueduct, he finished 4th by 3 lengths that day. And again, he just couldn't keep up late, but really ran his heart out. Saratoga, 1.5 miles and off 6-2, winning by 3 1/4 lengths. Really slow fractions really got him the job done, earning an 88 buyer. Has run decently on this turf course, going back to a longer trip. At 2-1, her buyers are up to scratch. I'm going to use her here on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Gulfstream, it is the Via Borghese. Let's take the 4 horse Flying Fortress. Give kudos to the 1 horse beside herself. 4168 super. 4-1 in your multi-race. The featured 9th race from Gulfstream Park, it is the H. Allen Jerkens Handicap. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have an oversubscribed field of 14 horses entered, but only 12 could go to the turf course here. The distance of ground of 3,200 meters, or the 2-mile trip on the Gulfstream Park turf course. 3,200 meters, 2 miles here on the turf course. The rails are out at 21 feet, so just keep that in mind. And if this race is taken off the turf, this race actually decreases in distance. Not going to be run 2 miles on the Tapeta. It's actually going to be run at 1 mile and 5/8 if they take this race off the turf and run on the Tapeta. So just keep that in mind. Still a longer marathon kind of race, though. Staying race, shall we say. Not a lot of them in this country. But I'm going to take the 3 horse, another mystery. I'm going to go 3698 in the superfecta. 3698 super. Top selection 3 horse, another mystery. 6-year-old horse by Temple City. James Gillick trains. Ira Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 15th of October at Hawthorne on the lawn. Mile 16th in the Pizza Man Stakes for Illinois Spreads, and he finished second by a head that day. He sat back early. He really had a good turn of foot late, and he just missed, but he ran his heart out. Not a bad race. Refreshing here to a longer trip. I think he could stay the trip well, and I think he could win on either surface, Tapeta or turf. 2 back at Kentucky Downs, 1.5 miles in the Kentucky Downs Turf Cup. He finished 3rd by a neck, and an all-out finish from Wide Poster, who's wide throughout, had a tough trip, but he's gaining late. Not a bad race for him there. And then the Colonial Cup at Colonial, about a mile and a half on the inner turf course. He finished second by 1.5 lengths. A little bit of a trouble trip early on, a little bit wide, but again, closed up well behind Red Knight, who went on to win actually next start out in that Kentucky Turf Cup. And then prior to that, in the Black Tie Affair, Hawthorne over the mile on the turf course, won by a half length. He got the job done. He grinded it out to the winner's circle. He's another horse. He loves going the longer trip. He won over the longer trip in the John B. Connolly last year at Sam Houston over the mile and a half, where he won by a head. Coming from nowhere, he really won quite nicely. Coming here at 4-1, it wouldn't surprise me. It won't also surprise me if the 6-horse here, reigning Spirit gets the job done for Brian Lynch and Tyler Gaffleone. Most recently in the Red Smith at Aqueduct over the mile 3/8, he finished 11th, where he never really got a good run. Turf courses at Aqueduct later in the season get very weird. I just don't think he was handling it there. Before that, Keeneland over the mile and a half in the Lounge race, winning by a nose, closing up from nowhere. He really got the job done, earning a 91 buyer. And then over the mile 5/16 in Kentucky Downs at Ops 62, he finished 6th by 3.25 lengths, was stupidly wide and never really got the good turn of foot. But he's another horse. I think he could stay for ages. Gonna give him a cross out for the last race. 15-1. Let's use him in that late pick 4 to blow it up. But to recount my selection for the ninth from Gulfstream, it is the H. Allen Jerkens Handicap. Let's take the 3-horse, Another Mystery. Give kudos to the 6-horse Reigning Spirit. 3698 Super. 36 in your multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingCat5. Good luck, everybody.